Hello, my name is Bob Damron, and I'm in the retirement stage, and I'm planning to retire to Sacramento. So I did go up to Sacramento. I had trouble finding Sacramento because I had heard that there wasn't much up there in Sacramento. But I really had trouble finding Sacramento, and guess what? When I finally arrived in Sacramento, not only did I have trouble finding Sacramento, there wasn't anything there at all in Sacramento. So I decided to stay in San Francisco where it's nice, foggy and cold, but still far more beautiful and aggressive and active and assertive cities than Sacramento could ever dream except for being. I don't know if Sacramento wound up running into problems when Arnold Schwarzenegger was there, or they had problems before. I don't know if Sacramento's problems started with Arnold Schwarzenegger or not, but anyway, it's kind of like a political thing, that's Sacramento. But it looks like Sacramento is a political football that somebody dropped. In fact, they dropped it so badly that they probably should tear up Sacramento and start all over again.
Tell me about what you saw in downtown in Sacramento. There's no job, there's no businesses.
Well, J Street and K Street, I don't know how many. I mean, I had heard that about 22 of, I think the vacancy rate in Sacramento was about 22%. If you saw downtown Sacramento, the major locations that I went to, like J and K Street, you'd swear that the vacancy rate was more like 90%. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's almost like a town in total decline. If I say town, I don't think of Sacramento much of the city anymore, more like a town. And yet it's the capital of California. So you would think that, well, just like this timetable here, I think Sacramento's time is running out.
So what is the problem? What is the problem with this part of a progressive government in Sacramento? Where did they fail in Sacramento?
Well, first of all, I think they had trouble finding each other. It was probably easier to find conservatives, even among Democrats, than progressives. There is a progressive movement up there in Chicago, but it probably doesn't even move at the rate of a slow-moving freight train, much less really get it on and bring true issues to all the people like they should.
What do you think the causes of the 22% vacancy rate on businesses in Sacramento? Is it higher taxes? It has to be higher taxes. Has to be,
well,
what other causes?
Obviously, the higher the vacancy rate goes, the more services are going to have to be cut. That's a foregone conclusion. If you don't have the money, something has to give. And obviously, if you have more and more businesses going out of business, you're going to have to cut back on a lot of public services. And I think among the first hit would be like schools, teachers, school programs, especially extracurricular, things like music program or art program, and a lot of other similar type programs, extracurricular.
Sacramento is supposed to be the capital of California. Why is it the unemployment rate is one of the highest in the state? It's 11.2%. And where did this progressive government fail?
Well, I'm not sure if the correct progressive government failed or if it just didn't show up. Sometimes people that you think are progressive are really spouting a more conservative line or drawing like a centrist line. That's happening at the national level too. And as far as like the wealth in that, it doesn't look like there's much wealth in Sacramento. I tell you, if I was rich, I don't think I'd want to live in Sacramento. And so obviously if you have the rich and not living in Sacramento, chances are that a lot of potential money and resources that could go to build up Sacramento are not going to be there. So they'll be somewhere else.
Tell us about what you saw at the Sacramento Mall with the empty vacancies.
I saw a city in decline. Not only that, but I hardly saw anybody downtown when I was there. I was there on the weekends and I was there on the weekdays. And, I was there like fairly early, like close to rush hour morning, and also rush hour afternoon hour. And I'm wondering, wait a minute, this reminded me of Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit, I agree. We were told that the only people that living in Sacramento are people who work with the state capital. And if Sacramento, who are their locals?
Well, a lot of the locals are people who work in government because Sacramento is the state capital, and being the state capital, the seat of the state government, you're going to have a lot of government workers living there, and obviously a lot of the government workers are not from the rich and privileged classes. They're more from the middle class or even the low class.
There's no jobs. In reality, there's no jobs in Sacramento as we speak.
Well, they've been cutting back.
No, there's no jobs, like I said. But the jobs is in the government instead. But that means I think that maybe the government needs to hire more people and continue shutting down private industry. The mall in Sacramento, across the old Sacramento, these buildings were just about every places in the downtown Sacramento. We saw buildings are closed.
Sacramento depends much more so than most other cities on government workers. And guess what? Private business depends on government workers. Because private businesses, for example, Safeways, Subways, every way.
I'm saying, but there's no.
If the government workers are laid off or furloughed, that means a lot less money to go to private businesses. And we're not just talking about fast food. We're talking about barbers, hair salons.
But the things that there's in reality, there's no. The only employer in Sacramento are people who work with the government. But the people who work in the industry, in the restaurant, the mall, those are closed. There's no life in Sacramento.
If you heard what I told you, if you had a lot more government workers, a lot of them are hurting too. Like, they're cutting back on government workers. They do it at the national level, state level, and the local level. Now at Sacramento, government workers are probably being hurt at both the state level and the local level. And as a result, that means a lot fewer people in government cut back, or else people who are not making much money because they've been had to take lower paying government jobs or furlough. Like Schwarzenegger, when he's governor, he furloughed people in that.
But the thing is that it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I think that
he's part of the problem.
In reality, Sacramento has the highest taxes in the state. It has the highest unemployment in the state. It has the highest business vacancy in the state. Now, how would you explain the government in Sacramento, a progressive, where did they fail for creating jobs? In the mall, in the restaurant, in the private industry? How can they keep jobs? What is your advice? What is your advice for the progressive government in Sacramento to keep jobs in Sacramento?
Well, they probably should be more progressive than they are.
I mean, how do you progressive create jobs?
Maybe even a little progressive radical.
I mean, how can progressive create jobs in businesses? How?
Well, that's a long story. I don't have time for that.
Tell me what. Give us information. You only get 2 more minutes to go.
First of all, why is it obviously you're biased because you're probably as biased as Michael Moore.
Tell me, why is it you don't talk about
the conservative issue.
So how can, okay, what I'm saying, how can, Sacramento is a progressive city. Supposedly a progressive city, but it's a failed city. High on business vacancy rate, high on unemployment, high on taxes, and that's where Jerry Brown lived and worked every day.
You're obviously very.
But am I right? Am I right?
Jerry Brown, he lived there, but obviously you're very opinionated.
Okay, I am.
And opinions are worth the paper they're not even written on. So keep that in mind. You have to have an open forum, and it's obviously you're not really the filmmaker here.
Do you have any?
Obviously,
do you have any last word? Do you have any advice?
Can I ask you why you're debating this with?
I'm not debating. I'm interviewing. So what is your advice for the progressive government in Sacramento to keep jobs in the private sector?
Maybe they should hire you. Yes, you're so you claim that you're so progressive or wanting to see big changes, right? And I think that if you have the answer, which it sounds like maybe you think you know the answer, but you don't do or don't, I don't know. But if you're that confident, I think you should get directly involved in this instead of just talking about it.
Do you think?
Talking cheap.
So. Okay, one last question for you.
I'd like to see you be more of a man of action instead of just a man of words.
Let me give you.
Are you a man of action or are you a man of words?
Let me give you another.
Are you a man of action or are you a man of words?
Give us your advice.
Are you a man of action or are you a man of words?
Give me your advice. Give me your advice to Jerry Brown, how to keep the private businesses open in Sacramento.
I would tell Jerry that he should invite you to the state capitol and help you to open your eyes to the possibilities, whatever the possibilities may be, progressive or whatever, right? And maybe you could open Jerry's eyes at the same time. See? You know, Jerry used to be, I believe he was a priest at one time, I know, and I know you like religion yourself, so I'm sure that there's a commonality of sorts between you and Jerry.
Thank you, Bob.
See, just like
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
You're welcome. Randolph Vermo? Or should I call you?